I know I'm late to the game. Paul, a friend of mine, told me ages ago that I have to check out this show, so I moved it up to the top of my to-watch list. I actually scripted this review last November, shortly after the spin-off Gen V generated a lot of buzz. Which reminds me that I still need to watch that one. Currently they are already releasing season 4 of The Boys, so it's high time to get to it. Hi there, it's Micha. If you like to get my take on the first season of a show, then join me for this review video. Imagine a world where superheroes are real, but most of them are doing their job rather for fame and fortune than to help their fellow citizens.
These assholes pirated my movie 3 weeks before release. Copyright infringement is costing Vought $1.2 billion per year. That's money out of our pockets.
Well, this is the world The Boys shows us. The greatest heroes are all under contract with a company named Vought International.
We are Vought. We make heroes super.
That manages their assignments, including the city they protect.
Who are you proposing?
Nubian Prince. Fits your population's demo, but not too militant.
That firm also makes it their job to keep their hero's reputation clean, which includes massive cover-ups when it comes to collateral damage. One of those victims is Robin, who stood in the way of Speedster A-Train, who ran right through her, turning her into a giant splatter of gore.
Besmirch Billy.
As the company blamed the death on the victim, her boyfriend Huey is looking for justice.
Technically, there's no legal claim, but Vought wants to do the right thing.
Not finding any, he settles for revenge.
I heard what happened to Robin.
I'm sorry, who are you?
She wasn't in the street, she was one step off the fucking curb, and you didn't take the payoff.
By joining forces with Butcher, former CIA agent and husband of another victim, who also reactivates his old associates. There is MM, Mother's Milk, who also lost family due to the soups, and Frenchie, who specializes in finding a soup's weakness in order to stop them, temporarily or permanently.
What do you think, Frenchie?
He can reorder his carbon on his skin into metamaterial. As hard as diamonds, it's nearly impossible to penetrate.
Alright, how about we suffocate him?
Some Dominicans already tried this, way back 07. We need to pierce the skin somehow.
And together they form The Boys. Can those normal humans stand a chance against the superpowered ones? I always thought this concept to be intriguing, but expected the show to only concentrate on this group of regular humans without any powers, which was not at all the case, as the series also dives deep into the world of the superheroes, here simply called Supes. On top of that, I assumed that they would still be heroes, with the collateral damage just being a side product of them not always being able to control themselves. Which is true in some regards, but there are also some really bad apples in their midst, who are actually villains, which added another interesting layer to the series. While the aforementioned Speedster was just sloppy but didn't intend to harm anyone, there are also sexual predators at play, like the Deep, who assaulted Annie, aka Starlight, the show's lead actress and the newly joined member of the Seven, the elite superhero league, on her very first day.
I could put you out of business. I mean, that's not what you really want, right? You just roll with the punches for like 3 minutes, maybe. It's not a big deal. All your dreams come true.
Another one, Translucent, is invisible and can often be found peeping on women in their bathrooms. But then there is Homelander, the almighty leader of a team who not only raped Butcher's wife, and likely killed her, but also dreams of ruling the world and kills to get there, while his public persona always shows a benevolent face.
Can I get a selfie?
Of course you can.
The show introduces us to a world which shares all its pop culture with ours, but just adds superpowered beings to the mix, whose emergence dates back to World War II and who are presented to the public as chosen by God.
I was born super abled.
However, along the way we learn that they are instead chosen by Vought, as a drug called Compound V was used to create soups. given to them when they were babies. The first season is all about the human team, the boys, coming together, while Starlight, one of the good soups, who really wants to help people.
I mean, why would you get into this business if not to save the world?
Struggles with the disappointing reality that the Seven are only doing good when a camera is around, or if they can turn their acts into movies. While the soups being marketed that way satirically comments on current superhero franchises using very dark humor, the show is not a comedy. It is ultra-violent, quite dirty, and in no way politically correct, which differentiates it from the bulk of the movies and shows it is aiming at, and which makes it special and gives it its charm.
You were right. Fuck A-Train.
Though the language is full of expletives and there are many sexual situations, including nudity, they are fortunately not overdoing it on that front, as a lot of the show's critique is aimed at exploiting women, which would lose its meaning if they leaned into it themselves. Quick side note, the language is not only juicy, but they also introduced many words that are unique to the show's universe, which sometimes require you to listen twice or even use the English subtitles, which you may need anyways, as Carl Urban sports an accent here that is really thick.
They sell $1 billion worth of that shit worldwide. Goes to show you, doesn't it? Bollocks people won't believe.
What I found really amusing are all the soups we meet and seeing which actual comic book heroes they are meant to represent, and which names they are given here. Homelander is Superman, Queen Maeve is Wonder Woman, A-Train is The Flash, and the Deep is Aquaman. Those are quite obvious. Translucent is likely meant as a gender-swapped invisible woman from the Fantastic Four, highlighting that a man with those powers would surely misuse them. Two soups that are only mentioned are Soldier Boy, one of the first soups during World War II, obviously meant to be Captain America, and Lamplighter, a retired member of the Seven who very much resembles Green Lantern. I'm not sure who Black Noir and Starlight are supposed to represent though. The former only reminds me of Snake Eye from G.I. Joe and the latter of DC's Stargirl, but there are surely better candidates that I'm just not familiar with. If you have any idea, then let me know in the comments. I also appreciate the show mostly avoiding the usual tropes. Like when Huey started a genuine relationship with Starlight, he kept his vigilante life a secret. Something that I feared would be drawn out for ages and probably multiple seasons, as most shows would do, but here it was laid open just an episode or two later. The show also does a good job regarding character development, by showing us the motivation of the boys, who by the way are not all male, making them very relatable, and also paint quite detailed pictures of the soups, who struggle with some real issues too. Season 1 also examines the soup's origin, tackles drug addiction by way of soups amping themselves up even further, and big companies and the government covering up everything that would tarnish their reputation. And in doing so, the show often taps into issues that feel really familiar from our real-world news. The acting is great across the board and there are many big names in supporting roles and cameos throughout the series, like Elizabeth Shue and Simon Pegg. Just don't get too attached to any of the characters, as some may kick the bucket along the way. And with that being said, let's get to the rating. I expected a lot from the first season and actually got more than I was hoping for. It was a wild ride, and even though the big reveal at the end of the season, which I will not spoil, was quite predictable, and likely so by design, it didn't detract from the overall impression. I'm rating season 1 with 8 out of 10 points. It was great and most things were done very well. And I'm going with this score even though I can't really tell you what they could have done differently to reach an even higher score with me. What it would have taken to say almost all was done perfectly. Sometimes your gut feeling also needs to be considered and 8 out of 10 somehow feels right. Let's see if future seasons will top that score. In any case, if you haven't yet, check out this show if you are not easily offended, but make sure to watch it when your young ones are fast asleep. What about you? Did you see this show and was the violence too much for your taste? Did you enjoy the satirical subtext or were things too much on the nose for you? Whatever you like to share, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share or subscribe. So much for now, see you next time and thanks for watching. While the soup's being marketed that way by Vought, satirically, though the language is full of expletives, he kept his vigilante. They are fortunately not overdoing it on that front, as the show